Croeso Channel Black Fluid. We are back in Finite Space, and we are about to head into Chapter 4 and some more training. So, let's not hang around and get to it. Sleep is slow to come and sporadic. My dreams are a mixed mess. They start as a sea of disapproval and scowling faces, changing the altercation in the shower room between Alex and Brute. They end with Brute towering over me, baton in hand, where everything morphs into Calbex's snarling face. I wake abruptly. It all ends with this shout from the evening prior ringing in my ears. Pushing myself out of bed, I find I'm awake well before sunup once more. Dark circles under my eyes greet me in the mirror after moving over to wash my face. I try to shake the lingering feelings of inadequacy the nightmares have left me with. It isn't going to do me any good to try and get more rest at this point. I sit at the desk and think over the last few days. Thought things were going to be easier once I got here. Weren't Squire supposed to have this sort of stuff figured out by now? Instead, everything seemed so childish in hindsight. Nightmares and meltdowns were a Page thing, surely. Corwan, what are you even doing? I scrunch my eyes shut and cover my face with my right arm. The Page fantasies I had of what life would be like as a Squire crossed my mind. I didn't expect anything to be easy. I expected the training to be grueling. It was the imagined scenarios with my knight that were too fanciful. Waiting on them, training together, as well as many late-night unprofessional imagines with a shapeless figure I thought I'd be with. At the time, it didn't seem so far off. Now the nightly figure is Calbex, and the situation is real. After the snap last night, it is clear that things aren't going to be like that. Calbex is tolerating me so far, but I keep pushing to do more. The real question I have for myself is, do I keep pushing and trying to force my idea of what kind of squire I want to be onto him, or do I let Calbex set the pace and possibly never grow that close? Neither one is ideal, but I don't know what to do. I'm still worrying the issue like a bad tooth, but I freeze when I hear an oddly high-pitched noise. What was that? I strain to make it out, but the noise does not repeat. It sounded like a yelp or whine. I get up, open the door into the corridor, peek my head out and listen for the source. Nothing. I'm about to close the door and I hear it again, clearly this time. A whimpering moan, muffled but audible, coming from Calbex's room. Is he okay? I tentatively move closer and listen. There it is again. The noises are coming from inside. I still haven't asked if I was allowed to enter his bedroom. If he's in trouble, surely it's okay to enter, right? Reaching out, I try the door and find it's unlocked. As I turn the handle slightly, the door opens inward. Yes, I've made my choice. Pushing further, I make just enough of an opening to poke my head in and look around. With the curtains drawn, the room is dark. There's a soft, low glow coming from the right corner, accented by an almost silent hum of electronics. Calbex's flight armor is housed in a display module against a nearby wall. The edge of it is barely in view. Forgetting myself, I take a step forward and enter the room fully. I have to get a better look. The sound freezes me. I turn my head to find the source. Calbex lies in the grandiose canopy bed, slightly obscured by blue chiffon curtains. Little silver stars and planets adorn the curtain in a rather cute manner. He whimpers again. I can't help but be drawn to him, though I'm still cautious and scared of being caught. However, he's asleep. Is he having a bad dream? I didn't think knights would have nightmares. It was understandable for pages, sure. Most are under 20. Considering that some sign up after the plague had taken something dear to them, it makes more sense. I creep up to the side of the bed. Calbex has thrashed half of the duvet off of himself in his sleep. He twitches. His ears flick, hearing something vexing in his dream. He looks so vulnerable. There's something so disarming about seeing him in a fit of sleep. It strips away the bravado, the stoic image I have of him. Even the growl and snap from yesterday fades at the sight of the state he's in. I reach my right hand towards him, leaning over the bed to where he lies strewn in the middle. I hope I can wake him gently. His exposed chest certainly looks petable. Right beside his arm would be less alarming to have touched in the dead of night. His fur is so soft. I hadn't considered it before. I could run my hands over it all day. My fingers trace the edges where the dense fur gives way to the coarser patches of the edges of his scars. I'm drawn back into the present when I look at his sleeping face again. Calbex, hey, come on. Wake up, sir. You're having a bad dream. Calbex surges upright, his head whips around wildly, his ears flicking alarm and his eyes open wide. He doesn't register that I'm there at first, even as his arm automatically moves to grab mine in his sudden awakening. Where? His eyes come to rest on me. His grip on my arm loosens, but he does not let go. Corwan? He chokes out hoarsely, blinking his real eye waters. As his vision clears, he surveys me properly. What are you doing in here? Are you moaning in your sleep, sir? You seem distressed, so I thought I should wake you up. I'm whispering to try to calm him. His chest still heaves as he takes in large breaths. I'm sorry for intruding. I can leave if you want, or... No! He blurts it out immediately. His grip on my arm tightens. This time it's more for comfort than the panic I felt before. No. Please don't. Thank you for awakening me. It was a bad dream, yes. I wait for him to continue, but he lets the silence hang. With him sitting up, it's clear that the bed is soaked in sweat. From the smell, the linen has either not been changed recently or this is a regular occurrence. My nose wrinkles as I readjust, which makes Calbex realise he's still holding my arm. He lets go. Sorry, I didn't hurt you, did I? I shake my head and smile at him softly. You didn't, Calbex. I'm fine, just worried about you. Calbex flattens his ears back and looks away, abashed. I'm struck by how open he's being, instead of closing off like normal. I'm glad then. He strokes his own arm comfortingly. It's obvious that he's not too sure what to do. I don't want this moment to slip away. I have to do something. I hold my hand out to him, palm up. His eyes fix on it and then flick back to mine, his eyebrows turning up with a quizzical look. Come on, let's get you washed up. Let me be your squire for once, okay? He stares at my hand for what feels like forever. I'm not sure what mental gymnastics he's doing as he works to decide whether he'll allow the help or not. He places his paw in my hand and then nods. I faintly pull, just to get him started. He moves slowly, swinging his legs out of the bed and leaving the bedclothes. Oof! I was not expecting him to sleep commando. I have to maintain my respectful gaze as I escort the weary wolf to the bathroom. Even so, it's intimidating. Calbex doesn't grip me like before, allowing me to pull him along slowly. I take us around the shower unit and towards the bath at the back. It's set up like an infinity pool. The water constantly overflows into grates. Testing the temperature with a toe, it's on the cooler side of lukewarm. Thankfully the panel on the wall is extremely simple. With only a press, steam starts rising from the water as it warms immediately. Next, the panel's a ledge that I can sit on just above the water's surface. I wade in slowly at the opposite end, hands still loosely linked with Calbex's. Once I'm deep enough the water laps at my waist, I'm assured the water is invitingly warm enough for Calbex. My underwear is soaked, but I don't want any distractions to give my knight a chance to bolt. I hope he can't see through them. Turning, I realise his groin is exactly at eye level, and I get a fresh up-close look. I'm glad the water is hot enough that I can blame my blush on that if asked, but Calbex still seems out of it when I look up at him. With one last pull and a single step back, I start to lead him into the bath. I continue taking small steps, punctuated by the displaced water spilling out and into the grates. Once he's in the water properly, I direct him to sit down, and then move up to sit on the bath ledge. My legs dangle in the water, with Calbex nestled between them. I take a moment to triumph. I've gotten my knight into a bath. Go me. Behind me on the ledge are a few items the maintenance and cleaning of fur that look hardly used. I reach over and then pull them closer. The wall also has a variety of dispensers to slide out with a touch. After using a ladle to get Calbex's broad back properly drenched, I lather up some product in my hands and then start working it into his pelt. His fur is dense. His coat is coarse at first, but softer underneath. Even on the parts of his back where wounds have healed and scars have formed, have a clear softness to them. I can't help but think of how much he's been through. How many people has he saved? As my mind thinks over the past, we sit in silence. It's only broken by the odd slosh of water and the sounds of me scrubbing. I work over his shoulders and then down his back. As I start on his sides, he grunts. I remove my hands immediately. Sorry, Calbex. I didn't hurt you, did I? He turns his head to the right and looks at me with his organic eye. No. I'm a bit ticklish on my left side is all. Sorry, I did not mean to startle you. You are doing a good job. If you can, please continue. He doesn't have to tell me twice. I start again, this time being more careful along his sides, especially where the scarring is more pronounced. I'm once again reminded of how much he must have been through in his service to this galaxy. Calbex is still such an enigma in terms of what he's been through. He also stands for everything I've ever aspired to be. Seeing the body of a hero, pockmarked with wounds from battle after battle, and yet still fighting despite it all, makes a lump form in my throat. I don't know how to express my admiration, to thank him. Is it even right to do so now? Or it spoil the scenario I've been yearning for? How much did it hurt? I speak before thinking. His fur bristles under my hands. Idiot. I can't believe I said something so stupid. Of all the things to... Yeah, it hurt. More than I thought I could bear. Not just the crash. No, it was everything. All that came after. He settles back down to the water. I cautiously return to washing him as he continues. The operations, the rehab, the feebleness. It was painful in ways I'm not used to. He drifts off and I just continue, rinsing off the suds I've generated slowly, running a comb through it. He does keep good care of his fur, there are not any mats or tangles to deal with. I want to apologise for last night. I overreacted. You weren't trying to do anything wrong, and it isn't your fault that the ball fell. I just can't help getting angry when things that were so easy before aren't anymore. I stay silent. I'm not even sure what I can say. I hold my breath in case he'd break his stride. He turns his head and body enough to look at me with his organic eye again. His expression is sorrowful. I could have caught that before. My reactions, they aren't what they were, and I'm constantly reminded of the fact. Day in, day out. In training, in the faces of my fellow knights. I can't even enjoy just a nice fucking meal. I'm sorry, Corwan. Please forgive me. I don't mean to. I feel... He trails off and turns away. Words finally fade in him. We lapse back into silence. I think about how he deserves to feel better. So much better. Seeing his ears sag and his head hang with just his back to me is too much. I tentatively put down the brushes and then reach my hands forward. Without really thinking of a plan or what would happen, I reach round his shoulders and hug him. My head rests against his wet back as my hands barely span his chest. He bristles initially. His body shudders as I make contact, but relaxes after a moment. My right cheek is getting wet. A trickle of water runs down my face, but I ignore it. Even though I initially smell his damp fur, the scents of the products really do come through. I don't think I'll ever smell pine and not think of Calbex now. We sit for a while longer. Neither of us move much. Maybe we're both afraid of breaking the spell. Eventually, I do think of what to say. I forgive you, Calbex. I do. I am to blame too. I haven't been doing what I should and putting your needs first. I've been pushing myself on your life, your routine. I should recognise what you do and don't need. I'm sorry. We turn to silence, but this time there's a light comfortableness to it now the air is being cleared. The slapping noise catches my attention. The source appears to be Calbex's tail, splashing the water as it wags. I'm glad he feels better now too. I could spend the whole day here, in this little safe haven from the world outside, a place where just me and my knight are momentarily happy. The sun, however, doesn't have the decency to allow this. Like a voyeur, streaks of light creep into the bathroom and fall across us. I squint at my new nemesis furiously. We should get ready. You have a full day, and I have group combat maneuvers with a new pack formation to contend with. He sounds like he'd like a bit longer as well. That makes me feel better, even though we have to stop. As he stands, I get a perfectly lined up view of his rear. Even waterlogged, it's a feast. I avert my gaze, knowing that my eyes already sear the image into my brain. I busy myself with cleaning up the brushes and tools. He enters the shower unit and the air turns on. I wash my face quickly to kill the blush that crept up to it. Standing, I motion to Calbex I'm heading back to my room. His fur is fluffing up intensely from the dryer and I have to suppress a laugh. He nods and waves back, so I head out. After Calbex finishes up, I have my own brief wash. I then dress, grab a night supply of my clothes and bundle them into my pack. Heading down, I see him chugging his first tonic of the day. I'm pleased I had completed that last night at least. He's also dressed in his gear today. From the smart mesh to the plating, it's clear that it's custom tailored. I recall he said he was doing combat stuff today. That also reminds me of something else he said. Oh, you said there was a new pack formation thing today? He finishes the drink and then stows the flask on his hip before addressing me. Yes, that is right. Whenever knights take on new squires, there's usually a restructure in the makeup of the teams. Commander Orion decides the packs and organises training. These 4 to 5 packs will make a unit that coordinates during engagements. It's important to synchronise our actions between packs. So we, the knights, do training sessions with the suggested packs to get comfortable with one another. We could be working with knights we've never met before, or familiar ones. Which also means our squires will be a pack too. Normally, as to say often, the knights and squires are considered as one when making packs and units, but the commander prefers to do things his way and focus on knight synergy. He stops, realising he's spoken at length. He looks around as if not sure if he should continue. Yes, you'll likely get informed shortly who we are grouped with. Okay, that does make sense. I guess I'll have to suck it up and work my best with the other squires I end up with then. I pause, tentative on if I should ask, but decide to get his advice. Any tips on how to act or work well in a squire team? There is some part of me that hates asking, but Calbex has been so honest and open this morning. I'd like that to continue, which means I have to be open to relying on him too. Calbex tilts his head and considers. Wonder how many different units he's been part of. Were there other knights he'd rather work with and those he doesn't want to? Well, if we are lucky, then we'll get teammates that we gel with. Know that often you'll find things you're better at than them and vice versa. Accepting this and working to cover one another's blind spots will prove crucial out in the field. He checks his stick and then motions towards the hall. We'll talk more once we know who we're with. We must head out now. Go to the canteen and get some breakfast. Consider a drier option today. First time in zero-gravity training can do a number on your stomach. I nod rapidly. I have no intention of making a public vomiting scene, and then being told to decontaminate an entire training room orbiting Oxid. Calbex strides ahead and I jog to keep pace. Did you ever, hurl asteroids, that is? Calbex stares at me for the briefest second with shock, before cracking the biggest smile I've seen on him yet. His chuckle is deep and melodious. Corwan, there isn't a knight out there who's not had a meal come back up one time or other during training. It happens. Don't fret about that. And yes, I have made a few meteor strikes. I'll not divulge the details just yet. He chuckles and picks up the pace. It's so odd seeing him full of mirth. I feel like I'm experiencing a different night entirely. His tail wags as he moves ahead, and the corners of my mouth tug into a smile. Alas, all good things come to an end as we reach the junction to head off to the canteen. Calbex offers me a wave as he moves off towards the facility before he returns to his stick, reading more messages. Elated, I head inside to grab a meal. A dry meal. With some toast and berries selected for my breakfast, I head towards the only destination I can take. Zaria's manic arm waves are too obvious to ignore. Not that I avoid her anyway, but I certainly am not about to see what happens if one ignores her attempt to get attention.
Oh good, you spotted me. Everyone else is in such a rush this morning. I thought you'd miss me. You nervous? I'm excited to see what kind of exercise we'll be doing up there.
She jabs a mechanical digit upwards to emphasise that she means Belvos, or there'll be anything else on my mind right now. I throw a few berries in my mouth and chew them hurriedly before answering. Yeah, a bit. I'm mostly looking forward to trying it. The moon I was on before was... well, I didn't really have the facility to really try true weightlessness. Can't wait to feel what it's like to manoeuvre completely untethered. Zaria is also sticking to a non-fluid breakfast today. She crunches some kind of meaty-looking protein bar. Have you had many chances to train in zero-G yourself? She looks sheepish as she flexes her paws. They pulse with a burst of energy.
Yeah, a few times. It's mostly to test how these function. Since they can use gravity tech, it's important to make sure they operate in a variety of situations.
She makes small circles as if waxing a hull.
I'm glad I got the practice. Using any inertia I have and alternating my arm's output, I can sort of control myself. I still need to get used to doing it and orienting myself when other things are happening. That's why I'm so pumped to get up there and try.
Some tigress mating ritual? Alex comes into view looking at Zaria with amusement. His mouth and whiskers twitch in an attempt to not snigger. Zaria, of course, stops his circular movements and flails instead.
Gah, you infuriating tube sock. I'll have you know I was showing Corwan here techniques that once perfected will aid us in battle.
Alex gives me a twinkling side eye and I can't help but join in. Oh, I don't doubt that. Rest assured, I'm not so cheap that I can be wooed by a piece of toast in the dance. Zaria will have to wine and dine me late at night in Belvos. She wants to seduce me into some zero-gravity coupling. To say her cheeks and upper neck turn a few colours darker may be an understatement. She looks fit to burst as she sees, glaring back and forth at the two of us.
You two are intolerable. I swear you both better watch out so I don't give you something to really regret in our next sparring session.
Alex takes his place, graceful as ever as he laughs. It's quite nice, high-pitched and genuine in his mirth.
Ah, peace, cousin, peace. We both do it in good jest. You react so wonderfully to any jab that it's quite irresistible, though we will cease if it truly bothers you.
Zaria huffs and demolishes the remainder of a meat bar, glowering at me with intensity. The gnashing of her teeth feels like a thinly veiled promise.
Yeah, sorry, Zaria. Believe me, you're the last person I'd want to have a vendetta against me.
Having worked out her rage on the snack, she sighs contentedly and then relaxes her posture.
No, I know you're both just teasing. It's just, I'm not going to deal with that kind of social interaction. I didn't have any siblings, and all the other pupils and pages in our clan were very well disciplined.
She shrugs. Her motorised shoulders whir as if to emphasise her dour mood.
Jabs and chokes are weapons they're not how to wield. My efficiency with trying to come up with a counterattack to strikes is severely lacking. I'm more frustrated I can't join in.
She finishes off her meal with a gulp and looks a little crestfallen.
Zaria, you'll pick it up. Just relax and say the first thing that pops into your head when we make a joke. It'll likely be the best comeback. You may even throw Alex off his game.
She nods and thinks for a moment. Her muzzle works around the words before she speaks up again.
Well, what I immediately thought to say back to your zero-gravity comment was, you'll need more than wine after I'm done with you, and a new pelvis. But I thought it was too... lewd. Oh, Corwan, are you alright?
I regret continuing to eat as she spoke and ended up choking on a berry that got stuck in the second she mentioned shattering my pelvis. Alex whacks me on the back and I cough up the lodged fruit.
Well, Zaria, I think we can say your immediate thought for rebuttal is indeed the best weapon.
You've certainly defeated our poor friend here. His tail is practically dancing with laughter, even as he passes me a napkin to wipe my mouth and then strokes my back softly. Zaria's face, however, transforms from initial shock and worry to jubilation.
Oh boy, you're right, Alex, I got him. I should just say what I think of in a moment. She turns her head, surveying the crowd for a moment. Eventually she locks on a squat squire with thick tusks tucking into a meal. She hollers over. "Hey, Russia, remember that time on the Ark ship on the way over? Well, I wanted to say then that..." She bounds off with glee towards her target. I'm about to listen in when a tickle in my left ear makes me turn to the feline leaning close. Since we have a moment, I should apologise for what you witnessed in the lockers yesterday. That is to say, I let my temper get the best of me. I'm sorry you had to see that. Everything that happened afterward at Calbex had completely forgotten the scene between him and Brute. He looks genuinely admonished. I don't really feel he should. I place my hand on his left paw. He doesn't flinch, yet returns my gaze warily. It's fine, Alex. Brute knows how to irritate the best of us. I don't think you flipping out was abnormal. Maybe just punching next time? Alex looks away and withdraws his paw. No, I lost control. I should not have. It was uncouth of me to stoop to his level. Or lower, even. I can't be going around losing it because someone is being obnoxious. I must rise above such petty aggravations. When asking more, but Zaria bounds back and takes the spot again. She looks back to a victim whose jaw is so low now I fear a meal will escape. I'm actually curious to know what she said based on the surrounding squires' faces being between shock and giggles. That was refreshing. I can see you're right, Corwan. Should be more confident in the hidden humour within. Everything alright? Her beaming smile falters, seeing as Alex waves off her concern and returns his smile with his own. Oh, nothing to concern yourself with, Zaria. Just some pre-training jitters. His voice is level, but his tail is tucked around himself tightly. I think I handled that poorly, but I'm not sure what to say. Not to mention, he clearly doesn't want to talk about it more with Zaria here. I'm rescued from my dilemma as our sticks chime. Not just 3 of ours, but many throughout the room. A murmur travels through the room as we collectively check the messages. I defer to pulling up a hollow screen and reading through it. Pack formation announcement. Alert. Pack formation alteration. Corwan Stringer, Squire 2. Cavalry Knight Calbex Auriga. This alert is to inform you of a formation or alteration to your Knight's pack. Cavalry Knight Calbex Auriga is now part of Pack More. Pack More composition. CK Calbex Auriga. S. Corwan Stringer. CK Cyrox the Morphal. S. Zaria Malrexus. CK Canon Tobbs. S. Alexandri Tronos. CDRK Fen Orion. S. Brute Cerberus. CKC Diaz. S. Gladius Rondus. Familiarize yourself with new packmates. A link chat has been generated to facilitate communication. Additional training access has been granted for coordination training. Addendum. Pack More is confirmed for after-duty recreational activities on Belvos. I can hardly believe it. Look up on the screen, the other 2. No, my new packmates. Zaria is still reading. I can tell from her general vibrations that she's happy. Alex doesn't actually have his stick out, but is instead thumbing one of his earrings with his eyes closed. And realised, but it must be some auxiliary interface. Then she opens his eyes and smiles over at me with a wink, then Zaria startles us both with a fist pump. Fuck yeah, more buddies! She practically leaps over the table and grabs us both in a loose headlock. I lean into it happily. Zaria is amazing. I couldn't be more glad to have her looking after my back. Alex too. After removing himself from her grip, he beams. I agree with your statement, Zaria. I'll feel more confident in battle with both of you by my side. Not to mention that our knights are all of high renown and aptitude. It only makes sense who would be in the war. Zaria bobs, tugging me along for the ride before I too squirm free. Looking around, I can see the general consensus is overall happy, but I do see some disgruntled looks. I can't believe we're in more, though. I mean, guess I should have guessed. It'd be fool to have Cyrox anywhere at the head. I'm so glad you're both with me. Although... She makes a face as she looks over the list once more. I can guess who she's displeased with. We'll have to deal with the angry puppy. Maybe we can beat friendship into with plenty of extra practice sessions. She slams her fist together with that promise, and I smile. Sure, I'm not the biggest fan of Angry and Angrier, but it'd been a miracle to be grouped with everyone I liked. I can handle Brute and Fen. At least I'm determined to.
Being close to the commander's gaze will certainly make me more nervous than not, but I'll just have to keep training as often as I can to keep up. Seeing the time, I jabbed Zaria on the side with a finger to get her attention. I'm happy to be with you two as well, but we need to head off. We have to head to the hangar for the transport. We can't be late for our first formal outing, right? She checks her stick and nods. Alex finishes off his meal quickly and gives us a thumbs up. We make our way out of the canteen and around towards the KAU complex entrance. Instead of entering, we head down the path where we originally landed in the Ark ship. I'm still buzzing with excitement and more little relief. Zaria, Alex and Eric's are great packmates to have. Still haven't seen Zaria and Alex in close quarters combat, but I have no doubt they are both exceptional. How can I fit into this formation? What do I offer? I'm a reasonable shot at the moment. That won't help me if the plague gets close. Lives will be lost if I let them past me because I'm not proficient enough in close range fighting. The announcement mentioned we had more access to facilities now. I think I'll make use of them when we get back. The vessel will be ascending and is more of a glorified elevator capsule than the craft. Circular with no middle section. Looks like a large donut. As we move further inside the hangar, a right part of the vehicle is open. Besides this section, a hovering workbench and some maintenance tools stand ready. I also spot Eric's leaning over the vehicle, handing some tools down as a mechanical hand reaches up to take them. I realise his knight, Jace, is underneath. The hand must belong to one of their graft arms. Heading over, I can hear mutterings emanating from them. Oh, there we go, sweetie. Oh, yeah, right there. You need a little tighter? Don't worry, I got you. Esquire, yo-yo wrench now. One of the mechanical arms jets out and waves impatiently, palm up towards Eric's. He glances over the workbench for a moment, brow furrowed as his eyes scan the various implements, before he spots the one requested and places it quickly in the waiting hand. The arm retracts quickly with its prize. It's plenty to work, Eric's. Here we go, baby. Shush, shush. Don't creak. I'm going to be really gentle. Ready? Okay, here I go. A sudden screech of metal makes us all jump. Then, with almost a purr, lights from underneath, the craft whirs back to life. The Procyon slides out from underneath with a massive grin on their face. Aha, there we go. Just needed some tough love. Oh, an audience, eh? Using their graft arms to push off the floor, Jays wipes their paws on the uniform. I don't think it could spoil them further, and extends a mechanical arm to each of the three of us. Take the hand off and marvel at how, well, organic it feels. The material is as soft as skin. Even though I can tell it's metal and it flexes as I shake it, just as realistically as I expect flesh and blood. Ah, yes, I was going to hunt down a new pack photo and examine them. Yes. Yeah, what I'd expect. All but Zaria are released from the handshakes as the mechanical arms instead all converge on her. Delicately moving over Zaria's own cybernetic arms, Jay steps up and looks at them with scrutiny. Zaria, yes, I heard a lot about you from the billowing thundercloud. Oh, Sarox is a serial flatler, though, so really go to your head. Interesting. Zaria blushes and the light just continues on, paying only real attention to her arms, making them move and checking the motorization. If you wanted to see some of these combat units, your lot makes for a while. Not quite the finesse I'd go with, but I'll admit the housing and conduits that handle the strain look solid. Perhaps you'll come to my workshop one day and I can get a proper look. Right, Squire? The question isn't really a question, Zaria just gulps and nods. I've never seen a Sotomewa before. The captain's eyes travel over Alex and then me, studying me intensely, but with none of the warmth they held for Zaria's cybernetics. Where are you from, lad? I snap to attention. Faro, Captain. Their eyes soften somewhat. The pieces fit. Salt of the earth people out that way, Squire. You should be proud of your roots, but also who you choose to be here too. Turn and see more squires approaching. They clap their 3 pairs of hands and look at Eric's. Well, let's get this floating saucer up and running, shall we? I think we'll shave 3 seconds off the time thanks to my repair work. Grinning, Jez drags Eric's off by the arm to do some final checks, pointing in multiple directions at once and barking orders as the bear runs back and forth. They're quirky and energetic, but I kind of like that. Zaria looks wary as she strokes her arms. I think the captain wants to operate on me. No, I don't think so. All right, Corwan? Alex looks at me if I should know. All I can do is shrug. Zaria shudders. As we wait, I spot Root stalking. His ears are so flat against his head they look like they've been blown off. He's carrying a small pack held tightly under his right arm and gives everyone a wide berth. I sigh. As much as I have very little desire to speak to the man, Calbex's words about accepting one of his faults rings in my ears. I beckon him over with a half-hearted wave. Root sees me, glares, and then deflates. He double-checks his pack is firmly under his arm before prowling over. Great, I'm with you, I saw. The pussy, the dick, the coward, and you. He gestures towards me with a dismissive flick of his head, as if I was an insult all in myself. Great, I'm already regretting this. Zaria, having recovered from examination, pips in.
Think I saw that opera on stage. Will that make you the mutt?
She grins. Though I appreciate a newfound funny bone, the reaction on Brute's face is priceless. I do fear the new impulse responses may have been a beast better left sleeping. Brute growls back his response warningly. I'm watching you all. Commander Fenn may want your knights alongside him, but he doesn't give a fuck about you lot. Means I have to deal with you and hope you don't drag me down to your level. He locks eyes with Alex, who doesn't meet them and looks at the craft instead. Brute's eyes flick to me, then to Rhea, and then back to me. I can feel him gauging whether or not I spoke about what happened between him and Alex yesterday. I raise an eyebrow, then faintly shake my head. I don't really feel it's my place getting into that here, and I hope they both can just let the instant go. Brute seems relaxed by maybe a micron, then bristles as we see most of the other packs start to approach the craft. Checks his belongings again, then shuffles inside. Saria watches him leave, then gives us all an exasperated look as she shakes her head and sighs.
Well, he's just awful at team bonding speeches, isn't he? I guess we'll have to grin and bear it for now. Maybe once he sees my moves, he'll be so impressed he'll unclench and let that stick drop out.
I balk at her. Oh God, she's becoming a monster. A glorious monster. I laugh and pat her back as we head inside. Alex follows, still distant. It's probably best to let him mull this over himself. As we strap in, Eric's and Jay's do some last-minute checks. Everything must be fine as Eric's jogs inside soon after. He sits down and settles in, a few seats down to the right. The roof of the hangar opens like a flower, the sections folding out like petals. We all squint as the sun comes glaring in. The craft hums begins to slowly rise just off the ground. I fear these crafts use satellites as guiding buoys and then shoot upwards like a cork under water, clamouring for the surface. The circular vessel starts to spin. Picking up force, we slowly move up out of the hangar. The force pulls me forward against the harness as we speed up. I can't see them, but the night captain coos out as the velocity ramps up.
Let's see how much faster we go then. Hope you all have strong stomachs. Start the time, Eric's. We're going to smash your record, got it?
I hear a faint whimpering confirmation from him as Jay's crows back.
Perfect. Okay. 3, 2, 1, mark!
As they call out, there's a stomach-lurching sensation as the centrifugal force instantly transitions to vertical momentum. We rocket away from the complex. The shuddering of the craft rocks my body. I press my tongue to the roof of my mouth and feel my chattering teeth may bite it. I can hear a few moans and a few heaves as we continue our ascent. We're still spinning, but it's nothing compared to before. I close my eyes to help with the nausea. As we exit the planet's atmosphere, the shuddering lessens and then stops. It feels safe to open my eyes. Once again, I'm blown away at the sight of Oxid. It's so verdant and full of life. I wonder if we'll get to travel much of the planet outside of training. Something to ask Calbex, I guess. I'm shaken from my spectators as we pass by the first guidance satellite. Passes through the hole in the middle of the craft. Afterward, we're suddenly thrown onto another trajectory. Looking up through the clear roof, we're already aligned towards the next one, and beyond that another. We'll slingshot around the planet using these buoys to change our path automatically and keep our momentum. I marvel at the ingenuity of it, though from a few groans and some faint splashes, not all the other passengers agree. After we pass over the next relay, the city comes into view. Melvos looks way more impressive up close. In yesterday's lesson, we learned how there's a multitude of scanning arrays and defences for the city itself. Seeing the scale and design of the station gives the impression of us approaching a fortress rather than a city. Not that it's a tourist destination by any means. With more people living and working aboard, the living quarters have been expanded over and over until it became a sprawling metropolis. In my stupor, I've missed the approach. Through the screens, I see the access dock we are rocketing towards.
Come on!
Our eager chaperone spurs the ship faster as we glide into a circular entrance on the side of the structure. We decelerate immediately as a magnetic eddy brings our velocity down. Clamps eventually grasp us and we dock fully.
Time! Tell me, I think we did it.
Even as we're being rotated and moored up, the Procyon knight has unstrapped himself and scuttles over their squire to get the verdict. Eric's pops out his left arm for Jays to read. After taking a moment to go over the readout, they whooped triumphantly. "Hot damn! All 0.4 gain! Ha! Take that, Wallace! You'll be footing my bill next time." Two sets of palms rubbed together with clear glee as the last mechanical set ruffles Eric's head for a little too vigorously. "Well done, everyone. Good job not throwing off the weight calculations. I'll make sure you all get some extra credits for not causing us all to explode en route." As they crow some more, move towards the exit. I can't be certain if that was a joke or not. If it wasn't, was this reward a bribe to not speak of this to anyone? I really can't tell what Jay's is about. They certainly liven up the scene. Walking out into the bay, it looks like some manic automated sorting machine. Conveyors, partitions and chutes crisscross the area in mechanical spiderweb operations. Cargo from the surface has been offloaded from another transport automatically. The system sends all of the crates and boxes in every which way. I feel exhausted just looking at it go. Oh, come now, Corwan. Let's not make a repeat of our first day in Stair. If you do, you're likely to get left behind, or collide with a handsome stranger. Alex pulls me out of my stare with a small tickle into my sides. Even when teasing, his paws are so soft and delicate where they touch. I would have noticed if he hadn't spoken first. Jolting away, I smirked him as we jog after the others. Jays has their nose stuck firmly in a hollow screen as they tap away, barely even looking as they walk and weave between workers and machinery. "Right then, read my logs of whip, Wallace, you dusty pangolin. Oh, right, here we are. Freight elevator. All in, now." We all crowd in before the doors slide closed. The lift ascends out of the hold into the city. The glass windows gives a view of the walkways and avenues of the residential sector. The air is painted with dark colours interspersed with lots of plants and trees. I can even see a park with some lazily bubbling water fountains, the streams curling slowly through the air like a lava lamp. Walkways and various transit lines break up the city into pieces, like some giant complex jigsaw. Each part is perfectly designed for efficient travel. The elevator comes to a stop when we exit. The area we're being delivered to looks more KAU orientated. There are a few knights walking through the open lobby area. Many of them are in flight suits or armour gear, likely on duty and ready in case they need to deploy. The materials certainly look sturdy, defensive, and even intimidating. We'll be wearing something similar soon enough. Jays walks through the area while still working on the stick screens. They use their mechanical arms to wave or otherwise acknowledge when someone calls to them. Just off from the initial lobby is the door the captain ambles into. It's a small room with a bunch of benches and some monitors. There are lockers on the back wall along with what appears to be weapon displays, like those in the training room. Take my place on the bench next to Zaria, who is bouncing both knees in clear excitement. Alex joins us on my other side. Eric sits with us on Alex's free side. Brute chooses the bench away from everyone, sitting on the end and tucking his pack between his legs. His back may be straight, but his tail is tucked between his legs and his ears are reacting to every noise. Maybe he isn't good with shuttle travel? Jace comes around to the front and, after putting away the stick, surveys us all fully with a smirk. "Well, you know what we're here. You need to get used to floating around and maybe some coordination. And as I saw, some of you need to hold your breakfasts better." They grin as some of the squires shrink in embarrassment. "You have to get used to it. As squires, you'll be flung and jettisoned out of the dropship readily. Usually being shot planet-side or for emergency tactics. Regardless, you'll all spend time in weightless situations." Their various hands splay wide as they would shotgun us out into space in all directions. They chuckle before continuing. "My main job is not to babysit you. I'll be engaging, firing the steed ships, coordinating backup and scanning for more plague vessels. I'll have zero time for zero-G babies." The way their graft arms mirror their organic arms to emphasise their point would be funny if the subject matter wasn't so serious. I lean in and focus. I don't want to miss a word. That being said, have fun with it. You all got your pack of silence, so you'll use this as bonding experience. Group up. Put your stuff in the lockers here. I'll go configure something cool. With what can only be called malicious glee, they scuttle off through the far door, leaving us all to prep. Brute is up and at the lockers right away. I can see him using his stick to access one before stowing his items away. Locking it with a swipe across the panel, he then tests the door a few times before he's seemingly content. I visibly see him relax a bit. He sees me watching and scowls. Securing his stick in his gear, he moves out of the way of everyone else as we also put our things away. With everything taken care of, the squires naturally separate into their packs, moving away to mutter in hushed tones. Strategy meetings, perhaps? Hard to really plan when we don't know what we are doing. Ahem. Alex makes a noise when we turn to him. Even Brute faces him, though his perpetual scowl only deepens.
As this is our first formal exercise of the Warpack, I think we should make sure that we approach whatever the captain divides with some form and order. I'd like your input and ideas what we may face and how to tackle the situation. He seems to be in a much more formal mood now. I myself have limited experience with weightlessness. Overall, I clocked in only a few dozen hours total. The simulations were solo, mostly based on survival from a breach. How about you? Looks about the group. I suppose now is as best a time as any. I have no real experience with zero gravity. Our moon didn't really have the resources or equipment to give us any worthwhile practice, save for harness simulations and a very rare shuttle trip if there was room and time. I try my best to keep my expression neutral. They are my pack and I already feel like I can trust them, most of them, with some of my lacking areas. The others nod as they listen. The brute just stares with an odd expression. It's unnerving. I'm glad when Zaria pipes up. I had a lot of experience before the accident. She gestures to her arms and shrugs. It'll take a little while to really get a good feel for it, especially with how they position the gravity thrusters on the arms. It's different from a suit's placements. I only got a few hours in once they cleared me, and it was mostly test rather than practice. She flexes her arms and various nodes pulse briefly along them. I look at my own gear. I know small emitters are built into it that can create minute gravitational fields, acting as backup to ones our full armour house in case of failure. We taught as pages in the event we ended up in space, we'd have to use these to stow any momentum we had to prevent us being thrown beyond a reasonable search radius. Scary thought, though the drills we went through seemed comical when juxtaposed with the terrifying reality they trained us for. I have been put through rather vigorous training. Most of it was re-engaging on re-entry drops. Not that I recommend it, but if we have to do that, I can give some pointers. We gawk at him. It wasn't unheard of if you were close enough to an asteroid or planet the armour could handle an orbital landing. Doing so with any damage to suits could spell disaster. I think Eric's been trained excessively in that tactic. It was worrisome, to say the least. That is impressive, Eric's. I'm not certain it'll be on today's schedule, but I'd very much like to discuss your expertise on this later. I'm not in agreement. I doubt there are any squires, new or veteran, that had much actual experience in freefall landings. Knowing any advanced tactics in the circumstance we had to make one, sure it'd be better than only knowing how in theory. Sure, only mentioning exchanges could totally make us practice that. Well, when I mentioned that this morning, they got this manic gleam in their eyes. Probably not though, right? He chuckles nervously. I think the line between total respect and fear for his knight is razor thin. Our moody wallflower snorts. We turn to him. He looks like he has half a mind to stay silent for finally gracing us with his thoughts. My captain won't do that. Not for pack exercises. I can do grappling, asteroid hopping. The best way for those who have much experience to get to grips with orientating. What? He crosses his arms and huffs when we stare at him. It's probably the only time I've actually heard him speak without an insult falling out of his muzzle. That right? Sounds like you know a lot about this stuff, Root. Care to share? His ears flick and his muzzle curls in irritation. I assume Zaria is about to be shut down, but Brute answers. Plenty of experience as a debris junker. More about as easy you latch onto something or use a point of reference. Now look. He huffs again as all attention is on him. Even trying to keep his air of detachment, his tucked tail twitches. Maybe he does like showing off a little. Not thrilled about being lumped with you all, but the commander wants it, so I have to suck it up. So, he points to Alex, then to Eric's. You two at least should be good enough to handle what we face. Well coordinate and choose an orientation to start off with. And even if they can't pick up manoeuvring fast enough, we should still do it well. He gestures to me, then Zaria. There's the mood killing I was expecting. I imagine it's more directed at me than Zaria. He notices our collective scowls. Seriously, what? You said it yourself, rich boy. We're in more. We have to make sure we don't look like idiots and we can't be seen fucking flailing about. You want a plan? We have one now. Done. Humph. He goes back to staring away again. He may be as subtle as a club, but it did actually make sense. It's so annoying he came up with a reasonable plan. Immediately want to say it's shit. He's still a garbage wolf. Brute is right. At least about the plan. You three should take point. Zero and I will follow. Don't worry, we won't hold you back. The others glance my way. Brute looks validated and smirks. Alex and Eric still seem unsure, and Zaria just glares angrily at Brute. Well, fine. We'll go with this formation. If needs be, we'll change it up. Let's get in position. Seeing as they convene their strategy meetings and stand to line up the door, our uneasy pack lines up too.
Although Brute's assessment was likely true, it still stings. As we wait to see what lies beyond, I feel excitement and nerves flutter inside me. I can't wait to actually experience this. Sure, I don't want to make a fool of myself, but I've always wanted to feel true weightlessness. I'm not about to let the doe wolf ruin this. The doors in front of us illuminate and softly open. I'm met with endless space. Staring into the void bespeckled with stars is unnerving. The fact we've not all been sucked into the vacuum of space, and also that my feet remain firm on the floor, is just enough to prevent myself from holding my breath. A few others, however, do just that. It's beautiful, inviting in a standing on a precipice kind of way. So I take in more, I look around the edges of the door where I can just make out the blur of the holographic mesh. It breaks the illusion, just a little. It's not a complete void. Moving through the room are rocks of various sizes. Some are as large as a house, others are smaller than my fist. Damn, looks like Brute might have guessed right. That smug prick. His tail waggles enough to know he's pleased at his assessment. I'm glad his back is to me. Where I can feel his grin through the back of his skull. Welcome to your playground, squires. Our instructor ascends from below the platform, all arms splayed out like some giant spacefaring insectoid. The hands on the graft arms are creating small bursts that allow them to move gracefully until they come to bob just in front and above us all. Fancy, isn't he? This area is called Rock Garden, but feel free to call him Rocky. He'll be training here for the rest of the day. Jump in and get used to it. The atmosphere is fine. With a beckoning gesture and a backflip, Jays drifts off in freefall spiral into the apparent open space. One by one, the squires ahead of me take the leap of faith and start floating freely. Some are already quite proficient with their manoeuvring, staying in place or moving around one another. Others are far less graceful, drifting or, in one case, rocketing off in odd directions. Jay zips about, herding them back to their packs. My turn comes after Zaria just leaps off and promptly shoots halfway across the room from an ill-timed arm activation. I look off the ledge in the seeming abyss of open space. A tingle of nervous excitement bubbles up in me. Some part of me says to not jump, but I'm much more eager one yearns to leap into the unknown. I look up to locate Eric's, the furry meteor that he is, to use as a waypoint. Alex is floating nearby too. The two of them are up near one of the larger asteroids. Alex's tailband is glowing slightly. Seems to be interfacing on some of his other adornments with the way they twinkle. Focusing on them, I take a breath. Raise one foot over the edge, and leap off into space. The excitement I've been building continues to fill me as my body loses the angle of gravity and I start drifting upwards towards them. I want to enjoy the moment, so I don't activate any of the suit's adjustments. I just take it in. There's no up or down. Direction is meaningless. The only rule is momentum. The urge to wiggle my arms in an effort to control my movement is strong, but that would do nothing. There's a feeling of helplessness that rises up, threatening to overwhelm me with fear. The sensation is not even close to anything I've experienced. No, that's not entirely right. It's almost like floating on the lake. The memory comes unbidden. The hot summer sun blinks down, making me squint my eyes. The water supports me as I float on the immense surface. Deep depths below are just waiting to swallow me up. What are you doing, Corwan? Floating about isn't going to net out. Now, do you want to just lie there, or are you going to come and help catch something? His voice is clear and full of laughter. It has been a while. I blink and focus on my packmates. I'm adrift, lurching off target. No, that's going to help. Thanks, Dad. Activating the emitters with my glove, I change my trajectory and fold my arms in. I surge towards them with a single burst. As I approach them, I reach out and take their weight in extended arms. They help slow me as they use their own emitters to push back against my sudden speed. Oh, there, we got you. Are you liking it? Phew, yeah, it's something. I think I got it. But I can see how disorienting it can get. I look around the other squires. My brain tries to reconcile the chaos of the space. Everything is askew and no two squires are facing up the same way. Like a jigsaw put together incorrectly, my mind is trying to sort the disorder and organise the surroundings of my new Cartesian position. This is exhilarating as it is migraine-inducing. Calbex certainly was right about the light breakfast. It makes me glad that our ascent caused them to bring theirs up in the vessel. Floating balls of puke would make this scene less than magical. Brute floats past us, inverted with his arms crossed. No one's irritated by how smooth he looks, though him being in the pack now means his aptitude is an advantage, right? Well, speed certainly wasn't your priority. At least you ended up with us. Unlike the wailing comet. Yeah, here she is. On cue, Zaria is brought over by ever so graceful Jace, who doesn't even slow down to releasing her. Our tigress careens into us, with Jace sipping after her the last few orbiting squires back in. When our orange parcel hits the three of us, we swerve as we compensate until, together, we're back to a standstill. By the time we brought her alongside us, Brute has manoeuvred around to face us too. Sorry lads, that was a rush. Got the handle on it now. I had to open the throttle and see what the upper limits are so I can reel them in. She's beaming so much I can't help but chuckle. The giddiness of the experience is still fresh. She grabs onto the rock next to us. Her arm glows purple as she cures herself to it. I do the same. Although the suit's emitters are far less powerful, I feel the pull of my arm towards a meteoroid and I'm anchored. Right, you're bobbing around like useless rotten apples. Time to start learning to soar and land correctly, like a thrown rotten apple hitting its mark. Hopefully without the splatter. The analogy works. They circle around to face us all, albeit from an odd angle. Obviously, orientation is the name of the game when it comes to coordinating in 3 dimensions. I've been kind and made Rocky give you some rubble to use as focus points. In actual space, you'll likely not be as lucky. Asteroid belts or planetary rings are not especially common. More often than not, they'll be burning wreckage, the void of space, and maybe a planet soaring in the distance. Without a frame of reference, it can be very easy to become disoriented and lost. I'm going to be far too busy to fish around sectors looking for loose squires like dumplings in soup. Okay, maybe I skip breakfast. Regardless, you have to first learn how to operate in directionless environments. With practice, and if I deem you worthy enough to mount my precious darling steeds, you'll come to grips with this skill. Jace floats over the ring of rocks. With a flick of their various arms, they send out glowing beacons that disperse amongst the space, twinkling faintly. Propelling themselves back over the float above, they cross their arms and smirk down at us. Well, go on then. Let's see which pack can gather the most beacons and return to safety. They gesture towards the platform we leapt from. As all eyes return to the captain, they grin wildly and shoot up towards the ceiling. I said go. What you all drifting there for? Go! There's a ripple of realization that travels through the group before a mad, weightless scramble begins. Jay certainly knows how to sow chaos. There are squires who forget the controls and flail, as well as some that jettison off in random directions in their haste. I reach for my own controls for a paw clamped around my wrist. Rue gives me a pointed look but quickly releases my arm. Remember the plan. Orientate, coordinate. You stick with Spotty and take the relative left side. To illustrate, he points at me and Alex before he sweeps his right paw over that side of the room. Shagga, you watch stripes and give it tethered. You have enough bulk to do that at least. Take the relative right. Again he weighs over the area expects Eric's and Zaria to deal with. Hi, watch your furball. Should at least learn the names of your pack mates. What will you be doing then? Zaria is bristling. I see she's also eager to get started as the squires are starting to head into the field. I'll play clean up. I can move faster on my own. Now 70 to 80 beacons I saw Cap send out, so let's aim for 5 each and then get back to the landing zone. 5 each would give us 25 in total. If you spotted the right amount, that's a large proportion for one team to get. For I can query, shoots off in an arc towards the larger asteroids. He is remarkably graceful, almost beautiful, as he weaves and spirals past other squires. He even arrests a few of their momentum, in what looks like a collision at first, but Brute just uses them to change his trajectory. It's infuriatingly smart. Tap on my left shoulder from Alex indicates we should move too. Give Eric and Zaria a thumbs up and nod before we depart to our assigned areas. I follow Alex closely. Close enough this tail sometimes bumps my head or one of my shoulders. I think he's going slow on my account. Ahead there are a group of squires jostling one another for a found beacon. Alex chooses to move around them in a wide berth and push ahead. I keep pace and scour for any glowing points to zero in on around us. I scan the rocks as they move and spiral, and also watch the other squires. Some fly around, others hop between larger boulders. Wait. There! I spot a glimmer below, between 2 smaller rocky bodies caught in a gravitational spiral around one another. I tap Alex's foot, then point when he looks back. Oh, well done. Give me a boost, feet to feet. Not sure what he means at first. As he moves down slightly and tucks in his knees, feet flat out, I get what he wants. Flipping over, I line up and place my feet to his, then secure a magnetic lock to him. I have this image I resemble a performer balancing atop a furry ball. Look past him to where our target is. He cranes his neck to keep track of it too. Wait for it. Now! In tandem, he kicks out and pushes me off as I command the emitters to go full on, sending him surging like a missile. As I slam on the emitters in the opposite direction to stop me from careening off further, I keep my eyes glued to Alex. He tucks in his extremities, his tail trailing behind him like a party streamer. There's another squire closing in on a chosen beacon. Upon seeing Alex fast approaching, they decide to swim out of the way in an amusingly frantic display. Alex decelerates at the last moment, spreading himself like a parachute for grabbing the glowing point. He grasps at one of the meteoroids nearby. Using its rotation to turn, he centers himself before looking back towards me. Damn, are all these guys ballerinas or something? I don't have time to admire him heading back as I hear the sound of impact and scrambling from above. There's a larger rock close by. It seems like someone is trying to move over its surface. As it rotates, I see two grappled squires trying to outmaneuver each other. A glowing beacon sits on the ground not an arm's reach away from them. As they grunt and struggle, they both freeze as they spot me. I slowly reach up as they stare and pluck the beacon from the surface, quickly retracting my arm as they both continue to rotate back out of view. I hear twin groans of disappointment and realization. Not the most valiant victory, but sometimes you have to take the win. I fix the beacon to my gear just as Alex floats up beside me, giving me a gentle and intended bump. I saw that. Oh, their faces! He grins at me, his own prize also safely secured. We don't linger on the feeling. Alex immediately chooses a vector and then we realign the same way before heading off again. This feels amazing. Scary and still a little disorienting, but truly a feeling I can get used to. The more we move, the more I find myself adjusting to the concept of moving through a constantly changing environment and heading. The tickle of excitement in the back of my mind starts to grow. From training, I know the cavalry knights that excel most are those that grasp spatial directions fast and confidently. I have to remind myself that what we're doing now is nothing compared to the microsecond by microsecond changes needed to fight an actual plague fleet. Considering I started as the beginner, not feeling totally lost fills me up with a spark of confidence. As we head into a denser part of the field, manoeuvring becomes harder. Alex shows me some pretty interesting moves, mostly on avoiding collisions. He also uses any terrain that we come close to, changing direction whenever he or I spot a new beacon. It's what Brute was talking about, and it's an invaluable lesson. Alex manages to get 2 more beacons unimpeded, and I snag 1 more, before we come across other squires aiming for a beacon we're lining up for. Just as I'm closing in on what would be my 3rd, a beacon lodged deep in a crevice on a locker-sized meteoroid. Alex shouts, "Watch it!" It's just enough time for me to see a chunk of rock hurtling towards my target and slam in reverse. I reach for Alex's outstretched arm, and with his help get out of the area. The rocks collide with a crunch and then break apart. Above us, relatively, I can see 2 squires. I recognise one as Squire Luge, who I shot with yesterday. The other, Crocodilidian, is grinning as they knock another rock down us with their tail, trying to make us move. Oh, I must retreat. There, we can take cover behind that meteoroid. On my mark, ready? I see where he's pointing, then I scan quickly to see where the others are. Luge is lined to push off the huge rock he's latched onto and dive to the beacon, which I managed to spot in the debris. It's not too far from us now. If we retreat, we'll surely lose it. I don't want that. No, Alex, we can still get it. Slingshot me. I reach out to him. Alex looks torn between his choice and mine. Seeing the second rock approaching, he grabs me and starts to rotate. I don't blame me if you get smeared, Corwan. But here, we go! As we rotate, we both boost our emitters to speed up. Either get this right, overshoot or collide with Luge, the rock or something else. None of which is a good result. We rotate 1 final time before the projectile reaches us. Alex lets go. He's timed it great as I soar towards the blinking moat below. Looking back, Alex had enough excess momentum to avoid being hit too. The debris is small but spread wide, and I have very little time to adjust my approach. Left, right, an aileron rolls around some others. My eyes never leave my shimmering target. In my peripheral vision, Luge is closing the gap. The seal looks at home, swimming towards the beacon at high speeds. My acceleration is greater and I'm overtaking him. It's going to be close. I can see him reaching for it. After missing the last piece of rock between me and the prize, I extend my arms. Crack! We collide at the last second, each of us spiral away erratically. My right side stings. Trying to activate the emitters in sequence arrests my spin, though it's hard to judge. It takes me a moment to slow to a stop. I'm glad it's Luge rather than the croc I hit. Luge's softness helped lessen the blow, and it's only my ears that are left ringing. Glancing about, I spot him. He's still spiralling. I think he's trying to figure out how to stop. Enough of him, though. Where's the beacon? I scan about where the debris is still dispersing. I don't see it. Did the croc grab it after we collided? I clench my hands angrily. My right hand doesn't ball up fully. Looking down, I see a meek blinking emanating from it. Oh, I must have grabbed it before we impacted. Oh! I look about and see Alex moving over to me as I wave it at him victoriously. His concerned expression gives way to a laugh as he pulls up along my left side. Well done. Are you alright? Look like quite the hit. His paws graze my sides and probe gently, feeling for lasting injuries. All he ends up doing is tickling me, and I can feel heat creeping across my face. No, I'm good, Alex. Really. You can stop. He looks at me, then removes his paws hastily, looking away as well. There's the briefest moment when we just drift, inches apart, silently. The moment is soon broken by the nearby whoops of other squires claiming a prize. We instantly resume scanning for more. Ah, there. We managed to secure the next few beacons without issue, though the number available is definitely dwindling in our section. Alex suggests we head to the platform and snag any remaining ones on the way back. As we propel ourselves towards the landing point, I spot Brute. He's leaping and soaring from rock to empty space to the next meteoroid. It's a form of zero-gravity parkour that's truly amazing to watch. He dives between a bunch of other squires, scoops up a beacon and doesn't stop, just moves on like it was nothing. I'm so entranced I almost miss Alex grabbing my arm and pointing. Following his right arm, I see his gesturing a scuffle between three squires who appear to have found two unclaimed beacons on a larger, flatter boulder. The stocky bovine is grappling the other two and holding his own pretty well. That also means he's unable to make a move to grab the prize for himself. Back to back, then full speed in. I'll swing you around at the last moment and we'll swipe both in a flyby, okay? It sounds like a solid plan and I trust him. I nod. Moving around and linking our arms at the elbow, we press our backs together and look at the target spot. During this whole exercise, I've been getting a lot of direct contact with Alex. I fully appreciate how built he is. His back against mine is taut and ready. I line up my feet to his, our legs against one another's, then start the emitters, pushing them to max. Alex controls the finer alignment changes. All he needs from me is to give him full throttle. We surge towards the scrapping trio. Even while focusing on the target, I want to keep an eye on their situation. The bull is using his horns to great effect as he lifts and flings his smaller opponent. They yell as they cartwheel away. One-on-one, I'm sure I'll make short work of the remaining squire, so we only have a moment to try this. Alex is holding his arms tight as we close in. That current speed will surely crash into the rock. I certainly knows what he's doing. Just as we get to the moment where deceleration will be pointless, Alex makes his move. Unlinking arms, he lets me pull ahead of him while he changes his stance and thrust. His paw clamps on my ankle and then he yanks. My momentum is redirected and we start to swing away. Out of the corner of my eye, I see the bull squire charge just now that his opponents are dealt with. However, my eyes stay locked on the 2 points of light sweeping to meet me as my head comes dangerously close to the rock's surface. I can feel the strain from Alex's grip as he's pulling us into the new tangent, away from collision. I reach out with both hands, even as the thundering hooves of one determined bovine echo ever closer towards me. My gloved hands scrape against the hard surface as I rake them over the beacons, fisting them as tightly as I can as my swing starts to be pulled away and free. I come within inches of the poor bull who looks both frustrated and in awe. Sorry. I mutter up my apology before we're gone, accelerating away though not cleanly. We spiral slightly away from the awkward grip Alex has on me. Got them? I got them. Great. Help me stop, please. It takes us a bit of time to mitigate our movement and come to a standstill. Eventually we do, Alex still holding me to rotate a fraction to face the landing point. Oh, we did well. You did well, Corwan. Picking up moving like this is not easy at the best of times. James might be right about the trial by fire approach, but still, kudos. He grins at me, which I return. His praise means a lot, especially given his grace and speed. Yeah, we make a good team. We should hurry back though. Time is a factor as well. I say it as much to prompt myself as Alex. Being held so close while floating, after such a rush of endorphins from victory, could easily lead to things cropping up. With a nod, Alex releases me. We both make our way back to the platform. There are a few packs already back, sitting or relaxing. From the looks of it, not everyone has stomached the activity particularly well. A few squires also have med strips on them, likely bruising from collisions or scuffles. Their ears at the edge, waving us at excitedly as we approach. Eric's looks on as well, perking up as he spots us too. I reach for Zaria's outstretched arms. She pulls me in and helps me until my feet connect to the platform. Alex lands himself, still graceful and dainty.
Hey, welcome back, packmate. Thought we'd lost you both. How did you do?
Her fur on the left cheek is slightly wet and nose appears to have been bleeding. She still exudes happy energy. Guess whatever happened, she isn't bothered by it. I passed Alex one of the final beacons we snagged, then retrieved the others I'd stored. I got my quota, and Alex ended up with 6. Overall, a great result. Zaria whistles, particularly from her mouth, partially from her nose. Is it busted?
Hooey, that's fantastic. I managed to get 4, though Alex got all 5. It's even more remarkable since he spent more time reeling me in.
She grabs Eric's in a sideways hug and ruffles his fur. He shrinks away, but grins sheepishly back at her.
You weren't bad, just excited. I wouldn't have gotten as many if you weren't scared. I mean, if you weren't drawing so much focus.
She just laughs at him. As Alex goes into detail over our various victories, I scan the field again for our missing member. There's still a fair few packs going at it. The competition's grown frantic over the last few remaining beacons. As my eyes try to pick him out, I eventually spot Brute. He's in the middle of a 4-way contest. The asteroid they're on slowly rotates them into view. I squint to make out what's going on. They're a bit too far and moving too fast to really see who's doing what. That being said, seeing Brute fend them off in a rotating rock in the middle of a weightless environment is impressive. Especially as I see one squire being picked up and thrown into the void by the belligerent wolf. He must be victorious. They soon see him leaping off and surging back, doing the odd leaping and parkour style movements I've seen him before. Very effective if unorthodox. He lands with his left knee down, taking most of his acceleration off at the last moment. He pants for a minute before standing and taking slower, deeper breaths. Dan, fuck those dudes that are trying to slow me down. He sneezes at the distant enemies of his who are still searching. Competitive readers and begin to start describing Brute. I'm coming to realise he always wants to win. He turns back to focus on us, his eyes scrutinising. So, how many? Ah, yes, he was including us in his conditions for victory. Rather than give a breakdown, so I'd just give him the good news. 20 in total. Everyone did their part, don't worry. I thought he was going to be snide, but he just grins and pulls out his hoard of glowing lights. 4, 5, 6. Yeah, read them and weep. 8. Ha! There's no way any of the pack got more than 28. We fucking beat them, yes! This is the first time I've actually seen him smile. He looks quite nice when he isn't scowling or sneering. If it wasn't for the things he says, I could almost begin to tolerate him. The collective turned the sound of a whistle. The captain peeped at a few more times they saw through the room, herding the remaining squires back to us. After the last squires touched down, Jays addresses us with the biggest smirk. There we go. Is it better to get limbs on and get a feel for it rather than lecture on the theory? Well, I spotted some absolutely beautiful manoeuvres out there, and some utter shite ones, but the laugh was worth it. They chuckle as they scan the crowd with their stick, the beacons in their grasp pulse in response. As Jays comes into land, their graft arms fall back in, look much more or less like an arachnid, although still intimidating as they pore through the data on a holoscreen. Oh-ho! They whip their head around, finding Eric's. They then quickly scan over the rest of our pack one by one with a sadistic grin. Hi, my, you trying to make me proud or something, my squire? Look at this! Jays slaps a holoscreen and makes it bigger for everyone to see. The table shows a list of us by pack and the total beacons obtained. More is at the top by quite a margin. Next highest pack total is only 17. 40% of the total. Oh, yes, we love to see that. Good job, Moore. This is how you transfer competition, all right? I've seen if in the next session the rest of you can outdo them. Playing a nice target on yourselves with that, Moore? I swear they said to get us fired up against us. Great. They'll have to perform just as well with all the other packs after us. Now, I'm not going to stand here and tell you what you did right or wrong. Self-reflection is a better job for now. Think over how you performed and how you do things differently. You have the luxury of that now, so use it. I'll upload the feed of the exercise to you all so you can examine yourselves from an outsider's perspective as well. They flick their stick towards us, and I feel the vibration and ping from my own in response. Tomorrow, we'll engage in a more defined training regime. I expect to see you all bright and early. After today, however, you're dismissed. Go explore and shit. Except you, and you. They gestured at a few of the squires who'd been lying down when Alex and I returned. You added some very non-essential biomaterial to my garden, and you are going to help clean it up. Rocky doesn't need any donations for you clogging up his ports. So, lucky you. More floating for you. The addressed squires look admonished and trudge over the captain. The rest of us start to make our way to the exit. Oh, I've sent the location of your rooms as well, and the promised credit. You can have a good time at Belvos. But
If I catch even a single squire reporting hungover tomorrow, I'll make it look like these lot have gotten off easy. You hear?
Yes, Captain.
Good. Now shoot, got to look at my poor besmushed baby now.
With that, the rest of us hurry out before we get roped into clean as well. After we found the cabin lodgings and the happy realisation I'm bunking with Brute, we stowed our stuff and changed into casual dress. I was rather alarmed and excited seeing the credit allowance we'd been given. It doesn't take me long to wash and change. Brute decides that making sure his belongings are secured and his bunk is properly set up takes priority. I lean over the walkway and glance at the scene below as I wait for the others. The streets are active with folks coming off shift. Even being this far above, the tantalising smells of street vendors and restaurants starting up for the evening makes me salivate. There are walkways that crisscross so much, looking down conjures the image of a spider web. I shudder at the memory of Captain J's floating about and shake my head in an effort to dissipate the mental image. Some ancient human dance? Alex chuckles as he sidles out to his cabin and leans on the railing next to me. He gives me that smile that shows more in his eyes than his mouth. My attention is drawn immediately to his attire. It looks immaculate. I can't read the script stitched across here, but it looks good on him regardless. I also take note of a few more accessories adorning him. I wonder how much is this for show and how much is actually functional in some manner. No dance I know of. Should I patent it as my own? Think I could catch on? Alex chuckles. It's nice to see him back to being himself rather than being caught up in yesterday's incident. Who can say? I was only ever taught traditional dances. Yours seems too abstract for this humble cat to be able to judge. Maybe some far, far away place may adopt it as their new ballroom waltz. Oh, but Lord Hronos, we already danced earlier today in the garden, did we not? I think I could teach you a more abstract positions in but a few lessons. I give him a mock bow, as I see him open his mouth to retort. The rear classically bursts forth from a door and dejects. What's this I hear? We going dancing? Appearing the epitome of comfortable casual, Zuri gives us a look that makes me think she's serious about the dancing. Not if we don't want the locals to flee in panic at the sight of Corwan. He is unfortunate in the coordination department. I spin to glare at him as he winks at me. Hey, I was told a few proper dances. You name a time and place, we'll throw down. Now that sounds like fun. I'll happily join in. I want to see how your dances differ from my clan's. We mostly dance ceremoniously for big celebrations. Dancing? Eric squeaks as he exits his and Alex's room. He has a full fight or flight look on his face and is even reaching back for the door. No, calm yourself, Eric. We're actually just joking about something Corwan is doing. We aren't actually planning on going dancing. Not there be any contest. He gives me another smirk with the last comment and narrow my eyes at him. Maybe having Alex back to being coy isn't better after all. Yes, what the fuck you're clucking about? I could hear you through solid metal. Brute finally graces us with his presence, knocking on the paneling to emphasise his irritation. His casual look is more of a mishmash of items, but kind of works for him. Look well worn too, though clearly cared for. He glances over, his muzzle only noticeably wrinkling at Alex. His look softens, just a little, when his eyes linger on me. It's called polite conversation, Brute. You should try it. Zaria rolls her eyes at Brute before quickly looking down to the city streets, her expression quickly changing to eagerness. She squints at shops and signs. What should we do then? We have credits to burn and plenty of time to explore. After all the acrobatic circus tricks, I'm famished. Her nose twitches as she inhales the scents wafting up. Well, I'd check out a few of the stores and see what kinds of products they have up here. I'm not too fussed about shopping, but if we can perhaps pass by some of the city's system nodes, I'd be most grateful. Jay's mentioned a few of the ways they built this place for long-term deployment. I'd like to have a look, if that isn't too much of a bother. Alex smiles kindly at Eric as he squeaks out his request. Of course, Eric. We're a team as well as friends. We'd be more than happy to do what you want to as well, wouldn't? He glares over at Brute across his arms and scowls back. Oui, Brute. Brute looks like he's about to bite back for a moment. Instead, surprisingly, he huffs and looks away. Asparians. He scowls a little before repeating himself. Asparians. There's a branch store here. I'd like to look at what they have. I have to follow you all around doing pointless things like sit there in advanced tech with my time on sale. Zuri looks like she's about to interject, but Alex holds up a paw. I guess I'd be half a hypocrite if I said we would not do what one in the pack wanted. Fine then, Brute. We'll make our way down, check some areas for Eric, peruse the stores, then finish with a meal. Does this all sound good? With tensions more or less diffused, we nod in agreement, and then the pack moves into the city. We spend the next few hours wandering the streets of Belvos, doing what we planned. I'll admit, having nearly as much interest in the construction of the city's Xerix, but the parts and structures he stops to look at must be important. Well, look, Corwan. These pillars use the same heavy-based kinetic bombardment system the dropships have for emergency forfeiture. Oh, it's scary, but cool. The way he examines them, takes notes, and captures images of them reminds me of the fanatical excitement Maros showed when talking about tech. His stumpy tail wagging up a storm is well worth the detour. The stores are the biggest draw for me. With a generous credit dump from Captain J's, I found the burning desire to buy something for myself, namely some new clothes. The high-end boutique's a little overwhelming, though. Alex gives them a cursory look, but he agrees that more functional clothing in a store called Designer Debris would be better, and may even reveal some hidden bargain. As the Ray and Alex get into a heated debate of the hierarchy of importance between aesthetics and practicality, I come through some of the racks looking for something I want. There's a lot of variety in the garments, and the sizes as well. Some are made of a reshapeable mesh that can adjust to a few body types, and others are species-specific. I don't have any issues wearing something tailored for other species, as long as the clothing doesn't have additional appendage holes or unique materials to design for fur or scale types that irritate my skin. I end up finding a rather nice jacket. It has blue accents on the breast and sleeves, while still looking durable. Price is still a tad steep. It'd be nice to have something that matches Calbex's attire. The blue is the same shade as his eye, which is what attracted me to it. As I consider it, I'm surprised when Brute's paw appears from my left suddenly. He rubs the fabric between his pads before running a claw along it. Was he after it as well? He checks the maker's brand and the price tag before releasing it. Maker is good, and it's one of the durable lines. A few seasons old now. It's worth it as it is, but ask them to knock 10% off. It'll last you a long time if you care for it. With that remark, he just walks off to another rack. Truly, he is as vexing as he is unpredictable. I'm not sure he's playing at, but I do take the jacket to the counter. They check the system after I mention a lower price, and they agree it's an old enough product to warrant it. More than satisfied, I put it on to wear out. After comparing a few of the items the others picked out, we move on. The spare one turns out to be packed, and it's clear to see why, so it's all manner of unusual and new tech from Ersilkar. The Procyon home planet is touted as the most advanced, technologically speaking, in the planet. Rumours are that you've converted an entire planet into machinery, although the idea beggars belief. The sales personnel are very animated and draw passers-by into the store with their over-the-top spiel. As I linger to watch a demonstration on oscillating shield matrix, Brute enters. By the time the presentation is done, he has finished up and is leaving. Must already know what he wanted to buy, or was just very efficient with his shopping. Even if he looks pleased, I'm not about to pry into what he's bought. If he thinks I've shown interest, he may spend hours securing him in the room later. I do not want to endure that. By the time we hit the food strip, my stomach is rubbing up a storm. Oh, look, there's a zero gravity grill and there's spots in front of the chef. Let's eat there. Our excited tigress points to an open style restaurant where the chef cooks right in front of you. I've never eaten in one before, but it looks great. I can smell it from here. Well, I mean, if everyone else wants to. Eric's mouth is practically watering. With a chuckle, Alex nods and we all clamber up onto the high stools. I've looked over the menu and ordering a set meal. We each make our choices and then watch the chef get to work. Preparation is just as much about being showy as it is about cooking the food. The chef uses various tools and fields to suspend ingredients in the air, with plasma rings and swirling spices in such arrays it looks like a circus of food. Meat sourced through the obstacle course being seasoned, cooked and pulled through sauce like the chef is the conductor. We applaud when they finally present us with our bowls of spectacularly prepared cuisine. Now that was something. Alex looks delighted with the expertly sliced meat and accompaniments and takes a taste. I'm happy to see the display is only matched by the flavour. This day truly has offered plenty of new experiences. I've not seen such a place before. He chews happily. I take a taste myself, having gone for an all-in-one bowl set with a sphere of soup as well. The soup is suspended above a small emitter. With a straw it's easily sloped down. In between bites from the bowl it pairs incredibly well. The broth cuts through the fatty meat with a refreshing amount of spice. Even Roots put away his scowl for a moment, giving his forehead a well-earned rest as he chows down on his meat-rich choice. Oh, this is so good. I've never had anything this glorious before. Wow. Her tail bounces and wiggles in utter delight and in satisfaction. I can't help but grin. She chokes on a far too large bite, and then she slams her fist into her chest to help clear it. I'm okay.
Your eagerness is surely compliment the chef. Perhaps a little less haste would be prudent. It turns you truly have never had such a meal. The ingredients and performance aside, cooking technique is not overly complicated. Zaria looks sheepish. She takes a few sips of her beverage. When she takes another bite, she chews slowly and savours it thoughtfully. Well, my people have a philosophy of trying to keep an eye on the original form of all things as close as possible, from buildings to weapons to food. She finishes with a nod to a meal. She carefully picks apart the pieces into small piles. We traditionally eat food with very little processing, raw, lightly seasoned, if at all, or sometimes seared just a little. Each ingredient is its own treasured mouthful. She mixes the separated food back together rebelliously and then scarfs down the result with glee. Some things are better together, though, don't you think? Eric's is leaning forward on his stool, listening intently. His meal alone would probably be an affront to Zaria's clansman, with its mix of ingredients from the land, sea and sky. I understand the idea behind the stance, but cooking should be something to experiment with. I feel, at least. There are so many combinations to be had. I love tasting new flavours. Sorry if that was rude. Root huffs at the end of the line. There his scowl is, back in place. Stand there deals with those with more time on their plate than sense. Hey, that's rude. I mean, I don't think it's somewhat archaic, and my client's more traditional than most. The principle of admiring the efforts to get to foods from the source to a meal does make sense, I think. Principle's literally starving can't afford all I can scrounge with a half-flattened box of barely edible processed gunk. I have no idea what or when I'll eat next. He digs back into his meal and Zaria stares, clearly at a loss for words. Well, I do, yes. Of course, when it comes to survival, and, before the plague, that is. She mumbles off and goes back to her meal. I fear we'll eat in silence now, but Alex chirps up. I don't understand what you mean, Root. Ideology, standards, etiquette. It's all good and done when you aren't being beset by an unpredictable, ever-consuming threat. So much has been disrupted and lost. I admire the tigress culture for trying to hold on to some of the heritage they're proud of, without falling into denial and stubbornness over it. After all, those arms aren't basic at all. Zaria looks up at that and flexes her claws, the motors gently working as each digit moves. They are truly a mechanical marvel. Yeah, of course. We had to change, we had to adapt, all of us had to. The crown system hasn't been hit yet, but it's only out of colonies were reached. Plenty of convoys too, more so for KAU to fight back to them. My system was targeted at the turn of the century. Being so mineral rich, we've always been on high alert. Fortunately, KAU contingents in the sector. They didn't get to deploy planet-side before they retreated. Alex shakes his head in sad dismay, his tail twitching irritably as he continues. Since then, it's been a game of hunter and hunted. Small incursions, distractions and feints, infrequent strikes and coordinated pincer attacks. KAU's had to occupy 2 moons in the system to keep up a consistent presence. Eric stares at Alex with what appears to be newfound respect. There have been lessons on which systems the plague seemed most keen on hitting repeatedly. Brand put the connection together and Alex was from one of them. That's so insane. I can't imagine what your people must go through on a daily basis. Just wondering when the next attempt is going to be. Just waiting for the green storm to... He peters out. I winced when he mentioned the storm. He'd noticed. In fact, they all have and are looking at me expectantly. You don't have to. No, it's okay, Alex. I should share this. Everyone else is sharing their experiences, and we are a pack, so we should connect as much as we can. Still, it feels like reopening a wound has barely started to scab over. My planet was attacked when I was a kid, not even a teen. We'd never even been targeted before. They just appeared one day and started tearing the world apart. They told us afterward the emergency boys had been deployed right away, but we were so far out from anything. Even with quantum messaging, it took a while for the fleet to arrive. I rubbed my hands together, I recall it. The sounds of panic, the rumbling of the earth beneath us as it cracked and split, the hopeful feeling when it was announced the cavalry had arrived and engaged. The green storm came in the morning. My mother and I were heading to a KU extraction point. We didn't know who was winning, just the cavalry was fighting them. There was a panic. People screaming, trampling over one another to try and get to safety. A lot. My voice breaks and I cough. I've been keeping my eyes down as I recount the attack. As I reach for my glass, I see their faces. Horror, fear, pity. Even Brute looks solemn. I take a sip, clear my throat and then keep pushing through. I lost her, my mother. One moment I had her hand, the next, gone. I could hear her calling me. With everyone pushing and shoving, I ended up in an alley. Maybe I could have found her eventually. The plague ships started falling. Something had happened in the battle and stray ships started impacting the city. The noises of those impacts, like detonations. The vibrations through the ground and air. The screams. All of it is so clear even now. It rings in my ears. When the death settled, there was next to nothing left. No one left. I met Maros, my best friend back home, digging through the rubble. We didn't know what had happened and what to do, so we just stuck together. It took even KAU days to get through all the wreckage, to find every survivor. We were weak by then from hunger, so I don't recall much of it. But I remember the armour and the figure of the knight who pulled us out of the makeshift camp we'd put together. I shrug. It truly was a blur. The hours and days that followed blended together before we both ended up in the shelter on the moon. I probably still would have joined KU before all that. After? It felt like I owed it to everyone to try to get justice, to make what happened not happen anymore. Well, eventually, once we beat them. Damn, Corwan, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. I concur. To have lived through that. I can't imagine the fortitude that must have taken. I don't mean to bring down the mood. It sounds like this that having Brutus' usual snide self might actually help. Even he is looking away at the street. Well, I think you got us beat in terms of first-hand experience. We can go back to the rooms if you like. We all jump when the grill hisses. The chef throws the next course down the hot metal. Flipping it slowly through orbiting spices, they start their next performance. Eric's is so startled he teeters back on his stool, so Rhea has to grab him and prevent him from tipping over. It is alarming, the interruption broke the tension, which I'm so glad for. Oh, Eric's, careful. We still need you for tomorrow. Wonder what your knight is even going to make us do. You have an idea? Thanks, Rhea. I don't know. Jay's is very focused and intelligent, but also kind of wild, so I don't know what they'll have us doing. Maybe escape digestion procedures, or rapid decompression, or... With a moment past, the meal continues, we discuss what to expect from the feisty captain tomorrow. I'm still stressed, but it eases as the night progresses and we'll eventually all head to our cabins. As I somewhat expected, Brute takes his time going through all his purchases in a secretive manner on his top bunk. I leave him to it as I wash up and get ready for bed. I wasn't so exhausted, but I worried that Brute was going to try something when I slept. Rather than this happened today, I'm ready to just turn in and can't care less about the wolf. By the time I come out of the washroom, Brute's already stowed everything, got into his bunk properly. I guess he's a morning shower kind of guy. I slide into and settle in. The bed isn't as comfy as the one I'm getting so used to at Calbex's house, but it's still very well made, if more utilitarian. I try to wind down, listening to the odd hums and thrums of the station city around us. Brute is also shifting above me. Makes me remember the dorms, with as many as 10 of us to a room. When you learn to sleep through that, you can sleep through any amount of noise. I start to drift as I hear a voice calling from above. Did all that really happen to you? The storm and everything? It's low, barely a whisper. I feel the need to reply in kind. Yeah, it was all true. I wait for him to reply. After a moment of silence, I hear him roll over and make himself comfortable. I guess he doesn't want to say anything else. Good night, Brute. I mutter before closing my eyes and trying to drift off again. Night, Corwan. In the morning, Brute seems just as grouchy as ever. He rises and gets ready, keeping the bathroom door open the whole time. Deciding I'd rather leave him be, I get dressed and step out to look over the railing again. The streets below are active again, though with more of a morning rush feel to them. I'm not aching much from yesterday, so I'm eager to take on whatever Jays decides to throw at us. Just as I'm anticipating more fantastical gravity-defying manoeuvres, a blaring announcement rips through the station. Many of the building faces and screens change to display an alert. Vague incursion from opposite sector C45. X405-6 engagement complete. Alert. Plague incursion status, retreated. Ongoing threat level, high. Plague presence auxiliary attacks expected. All stations commit to continual scans. Operations be battle and deployment ready. Casualties, Raptor unit packs, beak, wingtip and talon.
OC pending medical screening. End of alert. I stare at the alerts scrolling across the screens. Plague. They've attacked. Those sector coordinates. No, not near Foro. They're at least a dozen systems away. Still, 3 packs have suffered some injuries. No announced deaths. Would they even? Out of commission could mean anything from mild to severe. I hope that the pending medical part means that everyone has survived. The details are so vague I don't know how many plague were even involved. Doors behind me open and packmates rush out wide-eyed. The rooms behind me are awash with the glow from the same alert. My stick vibrates and whistles a notification. The others get one too. We hurry to pull them out to see the same message blaring around us, with a few more details. Ongoing threat level, high. Incursion type, repin. Plague core ship forced to retreat. Planetary damage, less than 15%. Bishop division deployed. Plague presence and auxiliary attacks expected. Archer division requested in the system. All to be battle and deployment ready. Casualties, Raptor unit packs, beak, wingtip and talon. OC pending medical screening. Operational changes. Lunar unit packs, Maw, Claw, Hind. Approved for active duty. I stare at the last line. Our pack is active. The next alarm could call us to the front lines. To fight the plague. I'm not the only one in shock. Everyone else is reacting to the realization. Are we really ready? Am I? And that's a cliffhanger to leave it on. We will resolve that when the next build comes out. They are working extremely hard on it, and hopefully it won't be too long. But of course, as always, I wait for the public builds to come out. So the next build will be our next episode of Finite Space. And from then on, when the builds come out, I'll be doing the videos, so we should keep fairly up to date with them, which has been my plan, trying to get caught up on a few of these VNs here. So I hope you enjoyed that one. That's very interesting. Yeah, that little Procyon is definitely a lot of fun to voice. And I'm interested to see more of what's going on with Calbex there. I hope he can continue to improve. Definitely some things in there, yeah, I'm recognising. I know how he feels with some of that, so I'm not going to go into details, but yeah. I haven't been through anything as bad as Calbex, I have to say, but yeah, I know what some of that is like, so he needs help, and hopefully Corwan can give that to him and help him deal with this stuff. I know that was getting a bit serious there, but less serious stuff. Don't forget you can always go and support Finite Space on their Patreon. The link is below. And I also have a Patreon, and my top patrons are Andy Peng, Aaron Fox, Bastian, Baker, Brian Hall, Gobus Visser, Dissonance, Exact, Grizz, Harvest Mouse Productions, Ida Corval, Evan King, Kartek, Matt Kenya, Mario Cervantes, Mohammed Al-Zamel, Wolfers Need Coffee, Amarasu, Tiger Cub, Samutu, Spiderling, Rafu, and Omar. So special thanks to them and to all my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon. I really appreciate the fact you think enough of the channel to give money for it. So I would normally say what's going on next week. There are 2 options at the moment. I'm waiting to hear back from someone. So there might be something new, or we'll have another update for Nevin. There won't be a video the following weekend. And then after that, the end of August, if we don't do Nevin next week, we'll definitely be doing it then. Catch up with what's going on with Mail Beyond. And then we'll be up to the to be continued with him until next month when another one comes out. So yes, this is it for Finite Space for a short time. Hopefully before too long they will have the new build. And then once we get to it, there will be more videos. We'll be taking this right to the end. But thanks for watching. Till next time, bye for now.